Hey everyone, and welcome back to All Things Soggy Buns. We are, as always, serving up something delicious today. And for those just tuning in, we're not just a podcast.
Oh, that's right.
We are a Maryland-based food truck and catering service known for amazing food. You might even pick up some insider tips on how we get things so crispy in our kitchen.
Ooh, crispy.
Speaking of crispy, today's deep dive is all about air fryer maintenance.
It's funny, air fryers have taken over the world, but you'd be so surprised how many people really struggle with keeping them in shape
Oh, I know.
and clean.
Yeah.
It's like this magical appliance that promises, crispy goodness, but then leaves you with a greasy, horrible mess.
Totally. I've definitely been there. Battling burnt-on grease is not how I like to spend my time.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to soak up all the wisdom that we can from the experts. We're turning to Air Fryer Foodie for this one. They've got a popular blog and a new cookbook, Air Fryer All Day. They're packed with tips and tricks.
What's great about them is they don't just give you recipes, they really break down the science of air frying, which is key to understanding how to get the best results and keep your air fryer happy.
Okay, let's get into it. First up, something that kind of blew my mind. We should never use nonstick cooking spray in an air fryer.
It seems counterintuitive, right? You'd think it would make cleanup easier and prevent things from sticking, but the problem is those nonstick sprays have chemicals in them that damage the coating on the air fryer basket over time.
So that explains why mine's looking a little rough.
Exactly. And once that coating is compromised, food is more likely to stick, making cleaning even harder. It's just a vicious cycle.
Okay, I am ditching the spray. But what do you do? Like, how do you keep things from sticking without it?
They recommend a simple DIY oil spritzer. You can fill it up with an oil that has a high smoke point, like avocado oil. Just a light spritz is all you need.
That makes a lot of sense. Get the benefits of oil without all the junk from the spray. And speaking of cleanup, I am intrigued by this idea of using liners in the air fryer. Is that what I'm picturing? Like parchment paper?
Yeah, parchment paper is great. You can also use silicone liners or even little baking dishes. It basically creates a barrier, so cleanup is super easy.
Oh, genius. No more scrubbing. But I do have one question. Wouldn't the parchment paper just fly around everywhere in there?
That's a really good point, and that's why they emphasize safety. You always want to make sure it's weighed down with food before turning on the air fryer. Otherwise, it could get too close to the heating element, and that could be a fire hazard.
Noted. Safety first.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that can be a bit hazardous, let's talk about smoke. I love cooking things like bacon in my air fryer, but it feels like I'm setting off the smoke alarm every time.
Oh, I feel you. And this is where things get interesting. They have a solution. Water. You just add a tablespoon to the bottom of the basket before cooking fatty foods.
Wait, what? Water? Really?
I know. It sounds a little crazy, but it really works. The water helps break down the grease as it renders, and that reduces the smoke.
Mind blown. Do that next time I make bacon for sure.
Yeah.
Any other genius cleaning hacks?
Quick cleanups are key. I know it's tempting to just let it cool down and deal with it later.
Yeah.
But trust me, just wiping down the basket after each use will save you so much scrubbing later.
Makes sense.
Mm.
A little effort up front saves you later. Now, I have confession to make. I may or may not have been neglecting a certain part of my air fryer.
Don't tell me the VIN.
Busted! I know it's important, but it always feels like such a hassle to clean. Like, is it really that big of a deal?
Oh, it can be. Grease in food can build up over time, which can block the airflow and make the air fryer less efficient.
Oh, okay.
And it can also make it smell.
So how do you tackle that without, like, losing your mind?
Warm, soapy water and a toothbrush. Just make sure to unplug it first.
Safety first, always. Now, speaking of smells, I've noticed air fryers can sometimes get this kind of, distinct aroma, like hot oil in whatever you cooked last week.
It's that lingering air fryer smell.
Okay.
It can be tough to get rid of. But they have a solution for this too. A ramekin with some lemon juice or vinegar.
Are you serious? Tell me more.
Yeah. You just put a little water in the ramekin with the juice or vinegar and air fry it for a couple of minutes. Then leave the air fryer closed for about half an hour to let the steam circulate and get rid of any odors.
I love it. It's all natural and smells way better than burnt grease. Okay, so we've covered cleaning, but what about actually using the air fryer? I sometimes struggle with getting the temperature right. Things are either too crispy or not crispy enough.
Yeah, temperature is key to air fryer success. And it's fascinating, they actually recommend lowering the temperature, especially when you're cooking fatty foods.
Really? Why is that?
It comes down to smoke points. Different fats have different temperatures at which they start to smoke. By lowering the temp, you can prevent the fat from burning and creating too much smoke. Plus, it helps the food cook more evenly.
So, like, for bacon, what would you recommend?
They suggest 350 degrees Fahrenheit. That seems to be the sweet spot for crispy bacon without, setting off the smoke alarm.
Okay, I'm trying that. Lower and slower. What about all the grease that, like, builds up during cooking? It's always a pain.
Absolutely. And this is where another super simple tip comes in. Just pause the air fryer while it's cooking and drain the
Oh,
grease.
that's so obvious, and I never do it. I always wait until the end, which is way messier.
It reduces the mess and also helps prevent the grease from burning and smoking. And you can even reuse the oil if you like.
I love a win-win. I'm adding that to my routine. Speaking of routine, I know we're all about trying new recipes, but is there anything specific we should keep in mind when using recipes with an air fryer?
Yeah, definitely. One of the things they really emphasize is to pay close attention to the settings in the recipe. Air fry and bake might seem similar, but they use different fan speeds and heating, which can impact the outcome.
Makes sense. So even though it's called an air fryer, sometimes you're actually baking.
Exactly. It's about understanding those settings and how they affect the cooking.
Okay, I will be more mindful of that. Are there any other unexpected tips, like something a little off the beaten path?
Well, have you ever heard of the toast test?
The toast test. That sounds intriguing, but also, I don't know, a little bit skeptical. Tell me more.
It's basically a way to get to know your air fryer. You just pop a piece of bread in and see how long it takes to toast.
So like a trial run.
Exactly. That way you can figure out the timing for other foods. It's especially helpful if you're trying a new recipe or using a new air fryer.
That's actually really clever. And I bet you could even use that piece of toast to, like, absorb excess grease during cooking, right?
Yeah.
Two birds, one stone.
Absolutely. That's another tip from Air Fryer Foodie. Putting bread in the bottom can help, especially when you're reheating things like mozzarella sticks.
Wow. Double duty toast. Genius.
Yeah.
Speaking of cleaning, are there any specific cleaning products you like for air fryers?
You definitely want to stay away from anything harsh. They can damage the coating and leave residue that could get in your food. Air Fryer Foodie recommends using something gentle like Dawn Power Wash.
Gentle but effective. Got
Get it.
This is all such great information. And you know what else is great?
What's that?
Soggy Bunz. If you're in Maryland and craving some delicious food, be sure to check out soggybunz.com/buns with a Z. You can see where we'll be or book us for an event. We're all about spreading the Soggy Bunz love.
Great food and expert air fryer tips. What more could you ask for?
Exactly. We're all about making life delicious, whether you're dining with us or whipping up something amazing at home. Now, before we get too carried away thinking about crispy goodness, there's one more thing we need to talk about.
Oh, we can't forget about this. They talk about how the wattage of air fryers can vary
Right.
quite a bit.
Yeah. I always just assumed they were all kind of the same, but I guess not.
No, and that means you might need to adjust cooking times based on your model.
Uh-huh.
What works in one might totally burn in another.
So those recipe instructions aren't messing around.
Nope, pay attention. And don't be afraid to adjust based on how yours cooks.
You know what? Maybe the Coast test can help there, too.
Exactly. Get to know your air fryer. Speaking of, I was thinking, mine is getting old.
Oh, tell me about it.
I'm wondering if it's time for an upgrade.
What are they saying about newer models?
Pretty exciting stuff, actually. Better nonstick surfaces, so cleaning is way easier.
Music to my ears. Any specific recommendations?
They love the Kasori Dual Blaze 6.8 quart smart air fryer.
Ooh, Kasori. I'll have to check it out. But 6.8 quarts, that's huge, right?
Yeah.
What if you're just cooking for one or two people?
Good point. They mentioned 5.8 quarts is a good all-around size.
Perfect. Now I have a starting point. This has been so helpful. I feel like an air fryer pro now.
It's amazing what you can learn when you really dive deep.
Speaking of diving deep, is anyone else getting hungry?
Yeah, all this air fryer talk is making me crave some crispy goodness.
Well, if you're in Maryland, you know where to find us. Soggy Bunz has got you covered. We've got a menu full of all kinds of delicious dishes, maybe even some air fryer creations.
Ooh, you'll have to stop by and see.
Exactly. You can check out our menu and where the food truck is headed next on our website, soggybunz.com. That's B-U-N-Z with a Z. We love spreading the Soggy Bunz love.
And while you're at it, why not try out some of these tips? Play around in your air fryer, have fun with it.
Exactly. But before you do, let's do a quick recap of what we've learned today.
All right, we debunked the myth of nonstick spray, discovered the power of liners and a little water,
Right.
and we stress how important quick cleanups are. Oh, and don't forget that vent.
And who could forget the toast test? Such a game changer.
It really is. Plus, we learned that a piece of bread can be a multitasking hero in the air fryer. soaking up grease and making cleanup a breeze.
And for those who are looking to upgrade, we gave you some advice on newer models and what size to get.
It's all about finding what works for you.
Exactly. And remember, this is all thanks to the air fryer experts over at Air Fryer Foodie. Their blog and cookbook, Air Fryer All Day, are definitely worth checking out.
Absolutely. Clearly passionate about air frying and helping people master it.
And you know what else we're passionate about?
What's that?
Making amazing food and sharing it with everyone.
That's the Soggy Bunz way.
Speaking of which, we've got a food truck to run and some food to cook up. But before we go, they leave us with this thought about how air frying is, at its heart, about having fun in the kitchen.
It really is, you know? It's not about being perfect. It's about just trying new things and playing with flavors and enjoying the process.
Yeah, and sometimes, making a mess.
Absolutely. Embrace the mess, you learn from your mistakes, and have fun.
Exactly. So there you have it. Everything you need to become an air fryer master.
Oh, that's right.
Courtesy of Air Fryer Foodie and all things Soggy Bunz.
We covered a lot today, from debunking those myths to all those hidden tricks, and hopefully we've inspired you to get in there and try some of these out.
Yes. And if you're feeling inspired, A&D hungry, we know just the place to satisfy those cravings.
Ooh, tell me more.
If you're in Maryland, you got to check out Soggy Bunz. We've got a menu full of amazing dishes, and who knows, maybe even some air fryer creations on there.
Yeah, I'll have to go see.
You can find our schedule and menu on our website, soggybunz.com. That's buns with a Z. We're always adding new things, so check back often.
And until next time, happy air frying, everyone.
And thank you for listening to the All Things Soggy Bunz podcast.